Good morning, all. My name is Paloma Beamer, which is the Spanish word for dove. I'm originally from Oakland, California, and I spent much of my childhood going back and forth to La Paz, Baja California, Mexico. I'm the director of the West Environmental Justice Center and a professor of public health at the University of Arizona. And I've worked on environmental justice issues for over the last 20 years across our region. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Karletta Chief, who will be doing our welcome today in our opening.
Ahead, Dr. Beamer, thank you for supporting this effort in environmental justice for tribal communities. Yeah, te ano to she torchi ninchla do to hana bashichin as a sane da she do ye Diné bashinale. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well from where you are joining us. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Karletta Chief. I'm the director of the Indigenous Resilience Center, who is a partner in the West Environmental Justice Center. And I'm also a professor in environmental science and an extension specialist. I am Diné from the Navajo Nation. I am Bitterwater, born for near the water. It's great to have you here. And I would like to welcome each and every one of you here to this tribal kickoff. Next. First, I would like to acknowledge that the University of Arizona, located in Tucson, Arizona, is on the land and territories of Indigenous people. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to O'odham and Yaqui. We are committed to diversity and inclusion, and the university strives to build sustainable relationships with sovereign Native nations and Indigenous communities through educational offerings, partnerships, and community service. The Indigenous Resilience Center, in partnership with the West Environmental Justice Center, goes beyond the land acknowledgement. We are truly and deeply committed to tribal communities in attaining environmental justice. So it's wonderful to have so many people here from different places joining us today. And we are committed to working with tribal communities through the West EJ Center. So we have many people joining us here online, and we'd like to acknowledge all of you. But before we do that, I want to do some housekeeping. So if we go back to the previous slide. For the audio, please turn off your microphone when you're not talking, and you will see an icon say mute and unmute. Just click on that to mute or unmute yourself. And then a video icon that will manage your video. So you can stop the video by clicking, and it'll have a cross, a red cross over to show that it's not showing video. And then to ask questions, you can raise your hand in the chat feature, and that raising hand chat feature indicates that you would like to comment or speak, and then we can see it on our end and make sure that we acknowledge your intent to ask a question. So those are the housekeeping functions on our Zoom today. And I will go forward and define what we mean when we say environmental justice. Next. So environmental justice is a word that is used widely across the world. And in April of 2023, the White House updated the environmental justice definition through Executive Order 14096. And this EJ definition looks at the just treatment and meaningful involvement. And in the past, the word just and disability were missing among other differences, and now it has been updated. So the full definition of environmental justice in this new iteration is the just and meaningful involvement of all people regardless of income, race, color, national origin, tribal affiliation, disability, and the decision making and decision making that affects human health and the environment. And it has equitable access to healthy, sustainable, and resilient environment in which we live, play, work, learn, grow, worship, engage in cultural and subsistence practice. And so that's the EJ definition that we are working in this center, but also recognize that we as Indigenous peoples have our deep connection to the land, waters, and air in all our relatives in different forms, and that we revere those relatives and work with them to have an equitable and safe place on Mother Earth. So thank you so much for joining us today. And at this time, I'm going to pass it over to Jessica Helgesen, who will now talk about tic-tacs. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Cloyd. I'm actually going to be speaking on behalf of EPA today. I am our Tribal and Indigenous Peoples Liaison for our Environmental Protection Agency Region 9 Environmental Justice team. So we can hop forward a slide here. I think we had an agenda if we wanted to go back and cover that first, or I can just dive right in. Paloma? Okay, so we'll go 2 slides forward here. And start talking about our Thriving Communities Technical Assistance Centers. So the West EJ Center is one of what EPA is calling our Thriving Communities Technical Assistance Centers. These are a joint effort between the EPA and Department of Energy, which seek to improve our grant processes and reduce barriers for federal funding throughout our underserved communities. So EPA and DOE selected 16 of these, what we're calling tic-tacs, throughout our national regions. Our Region 9 received 2 of these technical assistance centers, one, the West Environmental Justice Center, West EJ Center, and then CJ, which is based out of San Diego State University, Center for Environmental Justice, based out of SDSU. So these tic-tacs are a part of a larger network that will support TA, like grants, navigation, and capacity training, one-on-one consultation, all things leading up to a grant application, but not writing. And I'll let Paloma dive into what their center does in a few slides here. So our next slide, just wanted to share contact information. Obviously, you're connected with West EJ Center. We also have the SDSU CJ Technical Assistance Center as well. There's no geographic eligibility requirements. You can go to either of these centers, and the centers will refer to either one based on their technical capacities. So just wanted to provide that information. Our next slide here, a quick overview of what our environmental justice programs within EPA look like. We have 4 main pillars. So first and foremost, we have technical assistance here. Those are our Thriving Community Technical Assistance Centers, West EJ and CJ, based out of SDSU. Both of these have launched and are operational. Second here, we have our planning and project development through our EJ Thriving Communities grant makers. These grant makers have been selected. Their goal is to make grants more accessible for communities. So they are pass-through funders. Communities will apply to these grant makers to receive funding directly from those grant makers. A call for proposals for those pass-through funds are expected later in this fiscal year. Third here, we have pilots and partnerships. These come in the form of our EJ Collaborative Problem-Solving Grants and our EJ Government-to-Government Grants. These grants were open for application in 2023 and have been selected for that fiscal year. We do anticipate that these will reopen, but do not have a timeline for that as of yet. Fourth, in our environmental justice program pillar here, we have implementation. So we have our environmental and climate justice community change grants. These are really big $10 to $20 million implementation grants designed to really affect change on the ground in underserved communities. This was a really quick overview. Our technical assistance centers have in-depth knowledge on these programs and would be happy to dive in, and I can also answer any other questions after this. But we'll go to our next slide here. Just wanted to share a few items upcoming. This May 9th, We want to invite all of you to join the National Tribal Caucus Climate Subgroup in EPA for the third in a series of town halls on tribal climate change. This quarter, topic will include giving input on EPA's climate adaptation plan and leveraging grants for climate action. So again, that is May 9th. And our final slide here, I wanted to give a few resources from our EPA side. We have a national EJ listserv that offers up some EJ resources from our national office. We have a Region 9 specific EJ's distribution list that comes from our regional environmental justice team. And there's also a tribal newsletter that's put together by our tribal branch geared towards GAP recipients, but broadly offers some tribal resources from the EPA side as well. With that said, thanks for being here and thanks for letting me share some information. Again, my name is Mike Cloyd. My contact information is here. If you have EPA specific questions, I'm always happy to chat. With that, I think I'm passing it back to Paloma.
Thank you, Michael. Let's go next slide. So here at the West EJ Center, our mission is really to work as authentic partners with communities towards environmental and energy justice by being a one-stop shop for hands-on technical assistance, multifaceted training, and other eligible forms of assistance, resources, and to support program participants, which are the people who we work with. Next slide. And while Dr. Chief provided the definition of environmental justice, we also focus a lot of our guiding principles here on the environmental justice principles that were established at the first People of Color Environmental Leadership Summit in 1991. And while there are 17 principles, and we can't list them all here on the slide, and many of them, if not all of them, are still very relevant today, they do center on remembering the sacredness of Mother Earth, respect for multiple cultures and beliefs, decolonizing our methods, and assuring self-determination and environmental justice for all. And we take that to heart as we work with each of our clients. Next slide, please. So our center is built upon many existing collaborations and many existing groups that are already located here across Region 9. So we're designed to have a central hub, which is here at the University of Arizona. And even in that hub, we are still a collaboration with the Indigenous Resilience Center, the College of Public Health, the Southwest Environmental Health Sciences Center, the Western Regional Public Health Training Center, and the Sonoran Environmental Research Institute, which is an environmental justice nonprofit that is located here in Tucson, Arizona. Our spokes, which help us cover the whole region, so these are coming out from the hub. We have the Hawaii Public Health Institute in Hawaii, and we have the Larson Institute in Nevada, the Public Health Institute in Northern California, and our partners at the University of Southern California in Southern California. And then we also have another partner, the Environmental Protection Network, which is a nonprofit that has been providing free technical assistance for people applying for grants for the last few years across the nation and have access to many former EPA employees to provide support and mentorship in that process. Next slide, please. So we really want to emphasize that the West EJ Center provides free services. So over many years, we didn't have the resources or staff or time to be able to assist with this level of technical assistance. And that is one of the great things about these new centers, that it actually allows us to have full-time staff, as well as many additional experts that we can bring in as needed to provide free services. And we're centered around 3 general pillars. So what do we mean by technical assistance? We're here to help with grants navigation. So this means identifying grants, applying for and managing the grants, like how do you get your application, but also what do you do once you get the money? And we're working on online trainings for each of these elements. We also have a funding database on our website with over 200 grants related to environmental justice. We are also working on community leadership. So this is through conducting community resource fairs across all of this regions. We have a community champions program for those doing environmental justice work that want to come together and work on leadership together. We have a student internship program, as well as providing additional resources when you want to do advocacy or providing public comments. And finally, we have our technical expertise arm which will also do hands-on one-on-one consultation, like our grants, like each of the other ones. We're also working at environmental justice opportunities. We can provide statistical consultation. We can provide in that consultation experience with how to, measure certain things in the air, water, soil, whatever it is you're trying to figure out how to do, as well as conducting environmental justice analyses. Next slide, please. So here are some examples of our services. For example, if a tribal agency wants support for finding and applying to grants for dust mitigation, our team would meet with them one-on-one and then go research and develop a list of funding opportunities, meet to review the top priorities or the best grants that fit their needs, and provide feedback on how they can develop their application. Or if a rural community wants to know how their members can make their voices heard during a copper mine permitting process, our team can help connect that community group to the relevant environmental quality officials, including their local liaison, so they can help spread the word about how to submit public comments, as well as providing templates and ideas on how they might want to address this permitting process. Or if a tribal agency asks for assistance in creating an EPA required quality assurance project plan as part of their grant for, let's say, community air sampling, we can provide feedback on developing that project plan, as well as tailoring it to the area, the staff experience, and the pollutants of interest. So these are just examples, but we can do a whole wealth of different things, and we'll tailor it to anybody who comes to ask us for our services. Next slide. So what are your steps to getting support? So first, get in touch with us. You can fill out a form on the website. You can email us. You can call us toll free on our phone number, or you can contact us in person if we're at an event in person. And I put that information down there at the bottom of the slide just to make it handy, but we'll have it again at the end. We are committed to replying within 2 business days from the time we get your initial contact. And then we'll set up a 30-minute meeting to understand your organization needs. And then we'll begin our relationship where we'll support you as much as needed. We'll figure out the initial asks and make sure that those are working, and continue to support and address additional questions that you may have from us. Next slide, please. So these are 2 exciting opportunities we have going on right now. So the student internship program has launched. You can apply now, and we can also help identify students if you don't have one in mind. But essentially here we will pay for a student intern at $5,000 to work with a community, a tribal agency, a nonprofit, or a group that is in need of some additional assistance to help them get things done. Coming soon, expected to launch this summer, will be our Community Champions cohort. And this will be a program that will work on capacity building, leadership training, peer learning, and support through a cohort approach. And we'll be bringing people from across Region 9 together to work on that. And so keep an eye out for that. Next slide, please. We are also going to start having drop-in grant support or office hours. So this will be every other Monday, beginning on May 20th from 4 to 5 p.m. on Zoom. You don't need to make an appointment to join. You don't need to do anything ahead of time. This is your chance to just come in and talk to our grant specialist and get an idea of what we may be able to do or help with. So feel free to join Anna on May 20th or every other Monday. Next slide, please. So that's a brief overview of the West EJ Center, and we're now going to go into group discussions. So if you want to have a discussion about grants navigation or the community leadership opportunities or the technical expertise, go ahead and pick which of the breakout rooms you want to go to. And then in about 20 minutes or so, we'll give you the opportunity to pick a different breakout room, or you can stay in the same group. So to join the breakout groups, you'll see down at the bottom of your screen, there is a breakout room button. And if you click on that, you'll see that there's the 3 topics I just mentioned: grants navigation, community leadership, and technical expertise. And you can press the blue join button right next to it to join one of those groups. It's great. I'm starting to see people joining the different groups.
But if you weren't able to see the messages earlier, we thank you for joining us. And we do have more tribal kickoffs that will be happening. And also save the date for tribal listening session that will occur on May 29th, 31st, and June 3rd. The times are still being determined. And these listening sessions will be an opportunity to discuss your needs on how the West EJ can support environmental justice in tribal communities. There'll be a 90-minute session over Zoom, and there will be a $45 gift card for your participation. Please feel free to share any of the information regarding the dates for the tribal kickoff and tribal listening sessions with individuals and organizations and communities that you may be connected with or know of. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and have a wonderful day. We also have all our contact information listed here. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you very much.